All right. Well, what we're gonna talk about tonight. I am Coach Steve. This is Coach Glenn. Whoops, over there, and we we own a training business called Trench Training, where we train offense and defensive linemen. And this Tuesday in the Trenches here is a chance for us to kind of discuss different topics that come up during a season, during the off season. It's something we do weekly. We were on a platform that closed down in Blab, and then we were on Facebook Live, but we want to be able to be on here together, and we want to be able to bring in maybe even one or two other people at the same time, because I believe we can have up to 4 here. And so I think that would be a lot of fun to bring in other coaches, and that's our goal, is to bring more people in, more coaches, more players, so that we can get more perspective than just Coach and I. You know, why you would need more than just us, I don't know. But that's what we want to be able to provide. So that's the idea. So tonight we're going to talk about some ways to stay motivated during a long season. You know, and I'd say long. You know, I think that the football season is not long. It's actually pretty short as far as the number of games, especially when you're in high school. You get 9 games, and then you know, you get some playoff games if you're on a team, you know, good enough to advance. You usually have what, Coach, 3
Correct.
or 4 weeks
Yes.
leading up to the season, to the first game. Yeah, so it's really, I mean, you're talking 13 weeks. It's not a super long season. You're not playing a ton of games, but this is the time of year now. You've been going for 8 weeks, somewhere in there, and you know, this is the time when it becomes a little bit of a grind. And when you get to that halfway point or just past that, right around the midway of the season, it can be difficult to stay motivated. And there's a few things that I think we can do that we talk about tonight that might help. And when I say it can be a grind, it's not only a grind for you guys as players, it's also a grind for coaches who have been coaching and putting in even more time than players. You know, they're not only at practice, but they're prepping, they do meetings, and they're watching film, and they're watching other games, and they're, you know, it's a constant football 24/7 for those guys. And then it can be a grind for parents too. You know, your parents love to come watch you play, but, you know, they have to deal with you, okay? And, you know, when you're having a tough time and it's difficult for you, that's not easy for your parents either. So that's something you need to consider is, you know, these are some tips that, you know, parents can relay to their players, or you know, players can take and you know, and try to give your parents a break on attitude and you know, some of the things we go through when we're grinding through a season. All right. So there are 4 things we talked about this week in our post, and I want to go through those pretty quick here. The first one, ways to stay motivated. And this might seem kind of weird because it's not actually motivating necessarily, but it's a way to stay motivated and help your motivation, and that is to take care of your body. And we talked about this when you know, when we talked about surviving those first couple weeks of the season and in training camp and everything, and how important it is that you take care of your body. Well, again, we're 8 weeks, 9 weeks into the season now. You're going, something hurts. I promise you. I'm sure. You know, I see Michael on here. I'm sure Michael's got bumps and bruises and aches and pains and things that are hurting right now. And you know, even the smallest things are important to take care of, and that can help your, you know, it not only helps you physically, but it helps mentally as well. Because when you have pain, you're in pain, you're not going to be at your best mentally either, and it can be tough to stay motivated. And I'm sure Coach has some insight on that as well, having played a lot of years too. You know, well, it's the middle of the season can be tough, right, Coach?
One thing that's interesting is that for me, pain is a great motivator. And I'll use for an example. So if you are a little kid and you touch a stove and you burn your finger, you're going to jump back really quickly, and you're going to learn very, very quickly not to touch a stove anymore. the problem is the kind of pain you're talking about is extremely, it's almost depressing. Like every year I tended to get my toes stomped on and I'd lose my big toenail. And it's one of those nagging injuries that hurts every time you take a step, every time someone after the toenail's gone and it's hurting like heck, and then somebody steps on it again. It's like it really wears on your mental, I don't know if it's mental joy of the game, but it's something that's nagging and it's hard to overcome, and you really have to work hard at keeping yourself from letting that pain bother you. And it's tiring. I mean, it's when you're going through a 3-hour practice or going through a 3 or 4 hour game and you got this nagging injury, it can make you tired and it can wear you out. So I think it's really important to look at some of these things that we're talking about as to how to keep yourself motivated and work through the pain in this time part of the season, because it is a drag, especially if you're not, I know for our team, Arrowheads, they struggle to have the 2 losses and they're really having to fight their way back. And if you're another team that's maybe only won 1 or 2 games and you got these nagging injuries, it's really hard to motivate yourself sometimes to work through the injuries. And I see it all the time where you can tell kids at the beginning of the year are all fired up and they're going through, and then if they're not having success, all of a sudden the littlest injury and they're out. I got to go see the trainer, and you can tell they're not motivated and they're kind of letting the injury keep them from enjoying the game.
Yeah, it's tough, and what you really need to make sure that you're, again, there's a lot of nagging injuries, a lot of things that are gonna kind of wear on you, but there's also a lot of things you can do to help those nagging injuries, and that's icing muscles, making sure you're warming up properly, making sure just all the things that eating right, drinking lots of water, again, staying hydrated. We've got a pretty warm week this week for mid-September. I think they said it's like 15 degrees above normal for the rest of this week. So, it's unusually hot. And so you want to make sure that you're staying hydrated, because that hydration is what's going to help heal your body and, keep you where you need to be. So, all right. So after taking care of your body, another thing to think about is finding a way to take a break. And, this is tough during the season. It's not easy because, I've been on teams where, we'll do a film of the, we practice Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday we come in, watch film, do a little run, but we're watching film of the previous game, and then on Sunday nights having film sessions for the following week. And, when you're doing that, you're going 7 days a week. So it's not something I like to see. I like to see kids get at least a day away from football. And a lot of them are going to be watching football on that day. But sometimes it's just good to take a mental break and get completely away from the game, even if it's not for a full day, for a good chunk of time where you do something else, do something else that you do to relax. Something that's fun, spend time with your family, with your friends, whatever it might be, but something to take a break, not just physically, because physically, obviously, you're gonna get some downtime, but mentally, staying away from the game a little bit can be recharging. And this time of year, you've been playing football now for 8 or 9 weeks straight, with maybe only a few days break in there. It's good to find a way to get away from the game. And for me, it was always going fishing on a Sunday is one of the things I did, because that's more relaxing to me than anything else. And I would always try and find a way, especially coaching. When I was coaching, I coached for 10 years in Delavan, and man, those Sundays I needed to decompress for a while, because otherwise I would just watch film nonstop and game plan for the following week. And I felt it more as a coach than I think I did as a player. And it's good to get away from the game and give your brain a break from football too. So I don't know, how's Arrowhead on that, Coach? How do they do their schedule on the weekends and as far as
I coached
time for the
freshman,
kids.
so to be honest, I'm not really sure. We could ask Michael,
Yeah.
what they do on the weekends. I believe they come in on Saturday mornings and do a little run and workout and watch some film. And then I don't think they're back until Monday. So they do get some time
Well, that's good.
that way. And I agree
And I
that
think
time is away, but I will
most
say
programs
this.
do that.
My mistake that I made a lot of times wasn't doing like what you said, going and fishing or doing something that's totally different. I tended to, go out at night and then I would sleep all day. So I would sleep my day away, and I don't think that's a good way to do it. If I had to do it over, that's one thing that I would do different, is do something that's healthy for your mind, healthy for your body. And sleeping all day, I don't think is a good thing for your body.
No, it definitely doesn't, because then you get that imbalance. When you're awake when you should be sleeping, and you're sleeping when you should be awake.
There you go, Michael.
And Michael said practice Monday through Friday. We're on Saturday. Film for about 3 hours. We all get all day Saturday and Sunday off. Awesome. Well, that's great. That's and I think that's important. But to what Coach said, yeah, your body really you shouldn't. When you do that, when you stay up all night, sleep all day on the weekends, you're flipping your schedule. So when you go back on Monday and you have to get up early, you're going to be exhausted. And it doesn't matter how much you sleep during the day. If you're up all night, you're throwing your clock off internally, and you're going to screw things up. And I tell you guys, and it's something that I've been guilty of my entire adult life.
Mm-hmm.
is not getting enough sleep. And it is, boy, I tell you what, when you find a way to get 7-8 hours of sleep at night on a regular basis, your body responds so much differently than when you're going on 4 or 5 hours. And, especially when you're younger, you need more sleep. You're expending more energy. You're playing football and working out and going to school and doing all the things that you're doing. You've got to make sure your body's getting that rest, because your body doesn't recover when you're awake. Your body recovers when it's asleep. It needs that sleep to recover. It needs that downtime. So you definitely don't want to flip the switch and be up all night, long hours, and then sleeping during the day, because it's really going to screw up your clock. So certainly not something we want to do. So if you're taking a break, find something relaxing to do, but try and stay on that schedule. That's going to be helpful. I know it's tempting to sleep in. And again, Coach and I don't think we're saying you can't sleep in a little bit. Of course, you can do that.
Staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning and sleep until noon.
Sleeping until 2 or
really a great thing to do.
Right. Yeah. No, that's not good, because you're still not getting that much sleep when you do that. So, not good. All right. So the next thing is really being a good teammate, picking each other up, and I really believe that the best motivation often comes from our peers. I think we take that kind of motivation more to heart than anything else. It may be family, but I think peers are what can motivate us more strongly than anything else. So I really think that you need to try and be a great teammate. And if you're doing it, someone else is going to see it, and they're going to do it for you when you need it. And I think that that's super important. I can't emphasize enough, when you see somebody that's struggling through a practice, struggling through meetings, even struggling through a game, you got to be there to pick them up as a teammate. And, it's just something you have to do. And when you do that and you lead by example, others will do the same. I know that's a fact. It'll happen. And, you definitely want to be a good teammate and try and do what you can, especially on
there's
those
a couple
tough
things
days,
that I think are
especially
really
in the
important
grind.
here. One is being a coach. As long as I have, there's been a couple times where I've had the opportunity to coach with a coach who has a son that's on the team. And I'll go back to what you said, Steve. I think it's really important that many times, even though parents want the best for their kids, they don't always give the best advice to their kids. It's kind of, sometimes it can be more coming from maybe a selfish thing on the parents' part, but more, I think the kids are so sick of hearing it from their parents that they don't want to hear about that. So I think that's one thing to take into consideration is that your parents love you and care about you and want to help you do well. But a lot of times those aren't the ones that are giving you the advice that's going to pick you up. They tend to, unless the parent's really good at knowing how to motivate their kid, a lot of times the kids are going to take that as a negative. The other thing that I'm seeing a lot, probably in the last 5 to 10 years, is I don't think that kids are really understanding how to pick other kids up. It almost is like the kids are trying to be like a coach, and they're criticizing and they're critiquing and they're saying to the other kids, something that's like more like, that's really stupid what you did, or, pick it up. It's more like you need to talk to them like, hey, is there something going on? I noticed in practice that you were really struggling. Is there something I can help you with? How can I help you out? Kids need to learn how to help their teammates in a positive way. And I think many youth coaches, not many, but there are youth coaches that use the negative, screaming and yelling at the kids. And then there's a lot of parents that scream and yell at the kids. And so then I see a lot of the players today that are screaming and yelling at other kids. And that to me is not a way to pick somebody up. That's more going to be taken in a negative way and actually tear them down a little bit. So to be a good teammate, I think, is more important to really listen to what your teammates are saying and then try and come up with ways to motivate them positively.
Well, that's a great point, Coach. And I think part of the reason why it's so why teammates can motivate each other so much is because they're going through the same thing. If Coach and I are on a team, we're experiencing the same things. We're experiencing the same practices. We're experiencing the same games, experiencing the same wins and losses that parents aren't necessarily experiencing. And then we're also experiencing it in a different way than our coaches are. Even though they're a part of our team and they're coaching our team, they're not players. And there's something about that, and that's what makes football so awesome, is that unity of being on a team and the uniqueness of experiencing that. So I really think that has a lot to do with how players tend to motivate players more, right, because they're actually going through the exact same things. Yeah. All right. So the last one is pretty simple. Remember to have fun. I think we get so caught up. I think about the teams who have had some tough losses over the last few weeks. And there's a lot in the conference near our homes here in the Classic 8. There are upsets all over the place. The league's wide open, and I think that what you have to remember is football is supposed to be fun, and we can get very serious about wins and losses and championships, and obviously that's not going to go away. We're going to think about those things, but we have to also remember that football is fun. And you got to be having fun at practice. You got to be having fun in the locker room. And I don't mean goofing off, but I mean having fun, hanging out with your friends, hanging out with your teammates. Being a part of.
I think one of the classic lines that I heard when I was at New Orleans was one of my teammates who I really admired and got to know pretty well. Played in the league for, I think, about 15 years, was on a Super Bowl team with the San Diego Chargers, and it's Stan Brock. He was a right tackle. I think he's on the Saints Hall of Fame, and just an excellent guy. And he used to always say in training camp, he'd say, "Remember, guys, this is a game that 9-year-old kids play." And it really is. It's the same game no matter how far up you go. Obviously, there's more pressure to win. There's more pressure to do well, et cetera, but it's still a game. And I think, I think it's okay to goof around. I think what's important is to know when the right time for that is to be. Many times I think, some of my favorite times and some of the things that made the game fun for me was some of the stuff that went on in the locker rooms. There were times where I had tears in my eyes. I was laughing so hard. And some of the goofy stuff that guys did, it's like, it was, it's like refreshing. It's like, it took you completely away from all the pressure and took you everything. The problem is that there were many guys that didn't know how to shut it off, and then they would do the same thing on the field, or, at the wrong place. So really learning the timing of when to really let loose and have fun. On the field, for me, the hardest part I found is it's really difficult to have fun when you're losing. If you're a competitive person and obviously the goal and everything you're trying to do is to win. And, unlike you, Steve, when I was at Madison, we didn't have near as much success as you did. And there were times where we already knew we were out of the bowl game thing, and we got like 3 or 4 games to play. And sometimes it was really difficult to get excited about it. However, when you really break it down and look at, okay, I want to play a good game. I want to go out there and when I left after a game and had nothing left, I mean, when you are completely fatigued and have nothing left after a game, that made me feel good. And I think that's where the fun for me is to say, okay, you know what, as a team, maybe we're not going to reach our goals, but as a player, I can leave it all out on the field. And there were some times where I can honestly say some of my best, funnest games were in losses. That's just where our team was at. But individually, I was able to say, okay, I'm going to go have a great time. I'm going to bust my butt and try and get better and do well. And I think that's important because it's hard,
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yep, for sure. All right, guys. All right, so that's our 4. Just to recap real quick, 4 ways to stay motivated during the grind of the season. Take care of your body, 1. Take a break from football is another. Pick each other up, be a good teammate, and then remember to have fun. So, again, that was our post this week on trenchtraining.com. If you want to read that full article, you can go to trenchtraining.com. It's right there on our front page. Also, if you are not a member of the Trench Training community, it is completely free. You can get your membership just by clicking a button at the top of the page that I believe it says register today. Big yellow button that says register today. Click on that. Just all you have to do is just enter your name and email address, and you'll end up on our mailing list. So you're going to find out about all the stuff that we're doing and the upcoming events and different things. You also have access to our private Facebook page, which we're working on some more content for that. We're hoping to do some exclusive interviews that you'll only be able to see in there. So there it is, guys. That's it. That's the exclusive content from the membership. So make sure you get your membership. And hey, I hope this Huzza thing worked out. Hope you guys like this. Hey, DJ, how's it going, buddy? I had fun with you guys last night. Coach was talking about fun, and I tell you what, Coach said it's a game for 9-year-olds. And, I really enjoyed going out last night, seeing all those guys in pads. I hadn't got a chance to see that yet. Hadn't seen you guys, DJ and AJ and Cole and Hudson, all those guys in pads. The first time I'd seen them actually hitting each other and the excitement in their eyes, and as they jump up, always want to be in the drill, And I'm sure Michael can attest that when you get to high school, you probably don't have guys jumping to the front of the line to keep doing the drill over and over and over again, where you do when you're 9 years old. So that was pretty cool and pretty fun, and I enjoyed that. So, hey, good luck to everybody this week in your football games. And Michael, have a great game. Michael had a pick 6 last week. And Michael, that's pretty cool because now we had Trench Training 2 weeks in a row had pick 6, 2 defensive ends with pick 6, a defensive tackle, a defensive end with a pick 6, and then 2 guys had safeties. So we scored 16 points, Trench Training guys, in the last 2 weeks. So that's right.
DJ,
so no pressure to score this week.
Yes, score a touchdown.
DJ, you're the man. Score a touchdown. You pick up a fumble or pick something off. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back next week. Coach, what are we talking about next week? Do we know yet?
Yeah, that's right. Playing time. Yes,
we're gonna talk about playing time, aren't we? Yeah, I think we're going to talk about playing time and how to deal with that and some of the things that go on with that.
We'll hit that. If you guys have questions or topics that you want us to discuss or write an article about, please send us a message. Yeah.
Hit us up on the Trench Training Facebook page. Send us messages there. Drop a note on. You can send messages through the Facebook page. You can just post right on the page if you want. But definitely hit us up with any questions you have. If you're on our mailing list, you got our emails.
I think you
can respond to any of those emails. They all come to us. So Twitter, yep, we're at Trench Training.
All you young guys.
Twitter, you can hit us there.
Yeah.
Yep, Instagram, we're at Trench Training on Instagram as well. So however you need to hit us up, you got questions, we are here to answer them, okay? All right, guys, that's it for this week. We'll see you next time on Trench Training. Make sure this week you play big. See you guys.